Virginia has become the latest state to implement a version of the birthday rule, which some describe as a consumer-friendly regulation in Medigap policy renewals. And here to talk with me about that is Jae Oh, author of Maximize Your Medicare. Jae, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
So I think the best place to start is for anyone unfamiliar with the birthday rule to describe what it is.
Sure, there are different versions of this depending on the state. Virginia is not the first, it's not the only. So, a birthday rule, generically speaking, allows a person to switch Medigap carriers without underwriting after they are already enrolled. So, you need to be an existing Medigap policy owner, but then annually, under some rule, and it just happens to be within 60 days of your birthday in Virginia, you get to change Medigap carriers in the same plan or one that is weaker without any medical underwriting. For that perspective, it sounds like something to empower consumers.
Yeah. So my understanding is that the Virginia rule is similar to other states like Oregon and California. Is that fair to say? Yeah.
They all, like I said, they will have nuances which are very slightly different, meaning that whether that be the anniversary of when your policy started or when you are exactly your date of birth, for example, meaning that the window of accessing this rule can change from state to state. What they have in common is the idea that you can go to the same plan, let's just call it Plan N, for example, or you can go to a weaker plan with less robust coverage like a Plan K. One of those two things, but the rest stays in common, meaning the timing may change, but your ability to change doesn't.
Yeah. So in Virginia, my understanding is that this goes into effect in July of 2025. And as with many things in the world of financial planning, there are pros and cons. It helps some people, maybe those who are healthier, and maybe hurts other people, those who are less healthy.
Actually, my perspective would be probably in the minority here, Bob.
Okay.
So I understand that, it sounds great, meaning that you're 70 years old, you don't like the fact that your Medigap premium is increasing. You get to shop around and you get to go, you are on carrier 1, you can go to carrier number 3 without medical underwriting, irrespective of what happened over the past years with respect to you getting medical services. That said, the issue is that the carriers also know this. They have known this. They know this the moment this type of rule exists. They will adjust their price in advance. And what you see in practice is the fact that on average, those states with the birthday rule have notably higher Medigap premiums right from the time that you turn 65. Why? Because they know that Jay, as a licensed Medicare person, will be helping consumers get the best, most competitive price. So now you've got a rule that sounds good as a concept, but in practice may or may not be beneficial to the buyer.
Yeah. It also seems to me that Virginia is joining a growing list of other states that are implementing this, and under maybe the guise now that there's consumer protection in place for folks, but that may be, based on what you just said, overstated.
My concern here, and the reason that I'm happy to spend time talking about this specific topic, is that I can understand it looks good for a 70-year-old person. That person believes that they're going to save $10 a month on Medigap. Maybe or maybe not is my point. The carriers are highly competitive all the time. The person affected is the 65-year-old, because the 65-year-old who is deciding between Medigap and Medicare Advantage, let's call them, they need the robustness, they need the quality of a Medigap plan. but that price difference, that marginal price difference could price that consumer out. And they may live in a location where, for example, networks are just not very good, robust, complete. In which case, because of price alone, they're choosing a plan which may not have suited their situation best based off this rule where the outcome for the 70-year-old may or may not occur. That to me is the trade-off that I'm not sure has received the attention that it deserves.
Yeah. It also seems to suggest that this is not something, if you're that 65-year-old person, that you should do it yourself, that you might need the help of a qualified professional to at least weigh those things.
Yes, I do. I always think that, for example, I'll be notably biased as a licensed person, for sure. So I can tell you that we'll shop for every carrier, irrespective of the identity of that carrier, as long as that is a reliable carrier. That is true. And yes, people should understand this dynamic exists today because that the premium may be higher. And now the question between Medicare Advantage and Medigap, now more expensive in the sense that Medigap, the difference is going to be greater as Medigap premiums are going to increase in advance.
Yeah. So I think we've given folks the tip of the iceberg, but maybe enough so that they can at least have their conscience aware of the right. We've raised someone's conscious level of understanding here.
And that doesn't mean it's bad for the 70-year-old. Like I said in our examples here, that a 70-year-old has the full right now in Virginia, starting in days in July 1st, as you stated, to shop every year. And while I'm not necessarily saying it will be that productive on day one, that yes, every couple of years can be worth it, especially if you're married, because now that difference is multiplied by 2, multiplied by 12, and now you can have notable savings by doing a little extra work.
Yeah. Well, I'm fond of saying, Jay, that our goal is to get people from street level to curbside to advisor's doorstep. And I think we accomplished that with today's discussion. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, Bob.